AITA for flexing my $150,000 bonus and out-of-state home after my family forgot my gift? I am Kayla, 26 years old, and I work as a software engineer at a tech company in Austin, Texas, the kind that develops complex systems for major corporations. I am really good at what I do. I take on the most challenging projects, the ones others shy away from, the ones that come with significant bonuses. Only my close friends know this about my life. My family never seemed to care much about what I was doing. I had not spoken to them in 8 years. That is why I nearly dropped my phone when it rang on a Tuesday night, out of the blue, while I was relaxing on the couch in my rented apartment. It was my cousin Jenna, the only family member who had my new number. "Kayla," she said, her voice sounding strained. She had always called me Kayla since we were kids. "Hey, they are looking for you." I sat up straight. "Who?" "Your parents. They want you to come home for Christmas." I stared at the wall, trying to process it. "What do you mean they are looking for me?" "They have been asking aunts, uncles, cousins, anyone who might know how to reach you. They really want you there this year." Christmas was still about 2 months away, yet they were going to great lengths to find me. My parents, the same ones who had not made any effort to check in on me for 8 years. Jenna lowered her voice, as if she did not want anyone else to hear, even though she was alone. "Well, they are struggling financially. The house needs some repairs, and Derek is trying to launch his business. You know how they are." A knot formed in my stomach. Not from shock, but from the confirmation of what I already suspected. For some reason I heard myself say, "Tell them I will go." Jenna let out a sigh of relief. "Okay, I will let them know." She hung up, and the silence in my apartment felt heavy. I sat there in the dark, listening to the hum of the refrigerator, and the memories started flooding back. I was always the odd one out in the family, the one who did not quite fit in. While the others played and socialized at family gatherings, I would retreat to a corner with a book. I stayed close to my mom's side, not out of a close bond, but because I did not know where else to go. Instead of trying to understand why I felt that way, my parents decided something was wrong with me. They took me to see a child psychologist when I was young. I remember Dr. Patel clearly. She had a calm voice and a gentle manner. When I was 12, she called my parents and me into her office for a meeting. Her office had a small fish tank and the faint smell of coffee. I tried to make myself small in the chair as she told them directly. "A lot of what Kayla is experiencing stems from feeling emotionally rejected. It is clear that you favor your older son." My parents reacted strongly. "That is an exaggeration," my mom Linda said with her usual tense smile she used in front of others. "We love both our children equally." My dad Mark nodded along. "Of course. Do not make things up, doctor." But Dr. Patel was right. I knew it. They knew it too deep down. They just did not want to admit it. My brother Derek was everything I was not. Confident, outgoing, the kind of person who commanded attention the moment he entered a room. 3 years older, he was the golden child. He treated me like an annoyance. My parents and my maternal grandparents were convinced Derek was perfect. It showed clearly on birthdays. Derek received expensive gifts like brand-name sneakers, a watch, or the latest gaming system. I would get something picked up last minute, often a toy that broke quickly. Family gatherings were difficult. Derek would be at the center of everything, telling stories and making everyone laugh. I felt like part of the furniture, invisible. That is when I discovered computers. In middle school, there was an after-school coding club. The equipment was old, the keyboard sticky, but for the first time I felt like I belonged. The other kids were like me, quiet and more comfortable with technology than with social scenes. I made real friends there. One of them, Allie, helped me build my first computer from spare parts. When it powered on successfully, the feeling of accomplishment was incredible. At home, I started teaching myself to program, spending hours learning and experimenting. My coding club teacher, Mr. Chan, told me, "You have a real talent, Kayla. Do not let it go to waste." By the time I was 16, I knew I wanted to study computer science and become a software engineer. Meanwhile, Derek had started at an expensive private university out of state. My parents bragged about him constantly. "Our son is going to go far," they would say. Then came the family dinner that was the last straw. Everyone was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. A long table with plates squeezed together, the usual noise of glasses and conversation. My dad stood up with his glass. "We are so proud of Derek," he announced. "He is pursuing his dreams, and we are going to support him fully." Everyone clapped. Then my mom turned to me and said bluntly, "As for Kayla, there is no money left for her college. She will need to get a job right after high school." My stomach dropped. My Uncle Frank laughed. "I can always use help at my diner. I can start you as a dishwasher on minimum wage." The whole table laughed like it was the funniest thing. My parents joined in. I sat there, face burning, but stayed silent. The next day, after my high school graduation, my mom came to my room. "You need to start job hunting," she said. "And it would be best if you made plans to move out soon." I looked at her and replied quietly, "I am already leaving." What she did not know was that I had been accepted to the University of Texas at Austin with a full scholarship that covered tuition and provided a stipend for living expenses based on my grades and test scores. I did not tell them. I packed my things and stayed with my friend Allie for a few weeks before classes started. I got a part-time job at a local coffee shop and saved what I could. Soon I moved to Austin. The college years passed quickly with late nights studying, projects, and internships. For the first time, I did not feel like a burden. I graduated at the top of my class, and a tech company in Austin hired me right away. They assigned me to difficult projects from the start, and my starting salary was better than I expected. 4 years later, I had become the go-to person for solving tough problems. The bonuses were generous. And now, I had an invitation to return to the home of the people who once seemed eager to see me go. The weeks leading up to the trip were busy with work deadlines. At the end of November, I completed a major systems integration project for a large client. The company profited well from it, and when my bonus was deposited, it was one of those amounts that changes things. I had been pre-approved for a mortgage and the timing felt right. I contacted a real estate agent. She showed me several options and I fell in love with a condo. It had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a modern kitchen, and was in a quiet neighborhood close to work. I made a substantial down payment using part of the bonus and financed the rest. There was paperwork and appraisal and the closing process, but by early December it was done. I received the keys just before the holiday rush. At 26, I finally had a place that was truly mine. A week before Christmas, I had a small gathering with my people. Allie, a couple of friends from work, and 2 from college. We ordered takeout, taking advantage of deals without being extravagant, opened a bottle of wine, and sat in the still half-empty living room with boxes in the corners. Allie raised her glass. "To Kayla," she said, looking right at me, "because you showed them all." We clinked our glasses and I smiled. In a few days I was going to see my family again, but this time I was not that scared little girl. This time I knew who I was. On December 23rd, I took some time off from work. I packed a suitcase and bought gifts for everyone. Nice things, but not flashy. I did not want to show up bragging, not because I was ashamed, but because I did not want to be too obvious. On December 24th, I left at dawn to beat the traffic. The drive to my parents' house took almost 6 hours with tolls, construction zones, and that stretch of the interstate that always seems to drag on. As I entered the Oklahoma City area, my chest tightened, and I hit traffic as I got closer to Edmond, as always. The house was a 2-story place with a driveway out front, the kind that felt huge when I was a kid. But seeing it now, it looked tired. The paint was peeling, there were damp stains in one corner. The sidewalk was cracked, and even the front railing looked loose. The dry cold seeped through my jacket, and the house, even from the outside, looked like it needed help. 8 years had not been kind to it. I parked, got my suitcase and gift bags out, took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. I heard footsteps. The door opened. My mom looked at me as if she were trying to place my face in her memory, and when she finally recognized me, her eyes widened. "Kayla? Is that really you?" She hugged me, but it was an awkward, obligatory kind of hug. Then she pulled back and looked me up and down. "You look different." I walked in and the smell hit me. A mix of old carpet, vanilla air freshener, and that lemon-scented cleaner my mom used to make things smell fresh. A smell I had not missed, but that was stored somewhere in my body. The living room was full of relatives. As soon as they saw me, the conversations died down. "Well, look who decided to show up," someone muttered. Is she wearing pajamas or what? Another voice said. I glanced down at my clothes. Nice jeans, a simple black sweater. Nothing out of the ordinary. But to them, I guess anything that was not from a discount store was showing off. My mom led me into the living room. Everyone, Kayla is here. Fake smiles and half-hearted greetings followed. Just like always. From the kitchen, I heard Derek's voice. Well, let's see what the cat dragged in. He walked in with his arm around a pregnant woman. He looked comfortable, happy to see himself as important. This is Vanessa, my wife, he announced. And this, he said, touching her belly, any day now is going to be your niece. Congratulations, I said, and I meant it. A baby is not to blame for anything. Derek scanned me with his eyes. So what about you? What are you up to now? A smile that was not a smile formed on his lips. Still hiding in corners? Still not talking to anyone? A few people snickered. I felt the heat rise in my face, but I did not let it get to me. I work in technology, I said. Technology, he repeated, feigning interest. So you fix computers? Tech support or what? He turned to Vanessa as if he were telling a funny story. Kayla was always the quiet one. I bet she works locked up in some little room. I just nodded. Something like that. My mom clapped her hands to cut in. Dinner will be ready soon, Kayla. Go put your things away. Then, as if it were the most normal thing in the world, Derek uses your old room as an office, so you will be sleeping on the couch. Of course, no problem. That afternoon was a downpour of pointed comments disguised as small talk. My Aunt Carol cornered me near the punch bowl. Your brother's got a business venture, she said with that second-hand pride. He is so impressive, such an entrepreneur. And what do you do? What did you say you do? I am a software engineer, I replied. She wrinkled her nose. Ah, well, someone has to do the technical jobs, right? My Uncle Frank approached me while my mom and aunts were setting out plates. The dishwasher position at the diner is still open, he said, as if he were doing me a favor. It does not pay much, but it is honest work. Thanks, I am good, I replied. That night was Christmas Eve. There was dinner, punch, gossip, and that strange atmosphere of everyone being together but not really. I ate what I could, listening to Derek talk on and on. Then they watched television and arranged the leftovers for the next day. They pointed me to the couch. We will set you up there. I will get you a blanket in a bit, my mom said. I lay down in that chilly living room, staring at the ceiling, listening to snores and faint giggles in the distance. I felt like I was 12 again. The morning of December 25th arrived with a commotion. Derek and Vanessa came down the stairs like children. My parents were already awake, coffee in hand. Time for presents, Derek announced. We sat around the tree. I watched as they opened the gifts I had brought. My dad opened a nice watch. Wow, he said, surprised. My mom opened a quality handbag. It is beautiful, she said, stroking the leather as if she were both embarrassed and pleased. You must have spent a fortune. Not really, I answered. Derek and Vanessa opened things for the baby. A nice diaper bag, some clothes, useful things. How thoughtful, Vanessa said. And just like that, the gift giving was over except for me. I looked around, waiting. No one said anything. My mom brought a hand to her mouth with an exaggerated expression. Oh no, Kayla, we forgot to get you something. Derek burst out laughing. Remember when you were a kid and you used to cry about that? Vanessa giggled, covering her mouth. My dad laughed softly too. All of them laughing at me just like before. But this time something shifted inside me. It was not sadness or pain. It was clarity. I am not going to cry, I said calmly. I reached for my purse. In fact, I got myself a pretty great gift. I took out my keys and held them up slightly. The keychain glinted in the light from the window. My mom frowned. What is that? Keys. Keys to my condo, I said. I bought it a few weeks ago. I am already living in it. The room fell silent. One of those silences you can feel on your skin. You bought a condo? My dad said slowly. How? With my job, I answered. We delivered a big system. I got a bonus. How much? My mom asked, her voice sharp. I shrugged. Nearly $150,000. Not even a glass moved. Derek's mouth was hanging open. Vanessa looked at me as if I had said something shocking. My mom repeated it, as if she needed to hear it again. Nearly $150,000? What kind of job gives bonuses like that? I already told you, I said. I am a software engineer. I work on complex projects for large companies. My dad leaned forward. And how long have you been earning like that? Since I graduated, I replied. It is not always the same, but I have been earning well for years. My mom stood up and came over to me. Suddenly, as if someone had flipped a switch, a huge smile spread across her face. Oh, my daughter, why did you not tell us sooner? We are so proud. My dad joined in excitedly. Of course, our daughter, the engineer. Just look at you. My mom grabbed my hand as if she actually knew me. Tell us about the condo. How many rooms? Where is it? It is nice. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, I said. It is close to work. That is wonderful, she said, squeezing my knee. We have to come see it. The family should be united. I almost laughed. The family should be united. 8 years without looking for me. 8 years without asking. I stood up. Well, I should get going. It is a long drive. No, my mom said, grabbing my arm. You just got here. Stay for a few days. My dad nodded way too quickly. Your mom's right. You have not even told us about your job. I looked at them. The same people who had laughed when I was offered a job washing dishes. The same people who had pushed me out of the house as if I were in the way. I cannot, I said. I went to get my suitcase. As I packed my things, I heard urgent whispers from the living room, as if they were planning something. When I came out with my suitcase, they were standing there with desperate smiles. My dad cleared his throat. Before you go, we need to talk about Derek's business. Derek took a step forward, trying to look professional. It is a good investment, he said. You would be getting in on the ground floor. You will make money. How much? I asked, though I already knew. Nearly $175,000, he said, as if he were asking to borrow grocery money. With what you make, that is nothing. Think about Lily, too. I looked at them. My mom with her smile ready to sell me something. My dad with a look that said, you know it is the right thing to do. Derek, the golden boy. Vanessa, silent but with her eyes fixed on me, as if I were a solution. No, I said. It was a small word, but it landed like a stone. The smiles vanished. What do you mean, no? My mom's face hardened. What are you saying? I am saying I am not giving you any money. But we are family, my dad said. Family helps each other. Oh, really? I said. Where was this family when you told me to get out of the house the day after I graduated from high school? My mom opened her mouth, then closed it. That was different, she snapped, annoyed. We did not have money back then. No, I said. But there was money for Derek's university. Derek scowled. My mom jumped on the phrase. Derek had a future, she spat, then tried to fix it. I mean, we thought you would be better off working, right? I nodded slowly. Well, yes. I did work and I did well. But that does not make you the owners of my success. I grabbed the doorknob. I am leaving. Derek got angry and raised his voice. You are so selfish, he yelled. After everything this family did for you. I turned around. What did you do for me? I asked. My mom crossed her arms. We raised you, she said, indignant. We fed you, we clothed you, we gave you a roof over your head. The bare minimum, I answered. And even then you made it clear every single day that I was in the way. I walked out with my suitcase. They followed me, arguing. You are going to regret this, my mom yelled from the doorway. When you need us, do not come crying. I will not be coming, I said. And I meant it. I drove away and did not look back. The phone started ringing before I even reached the interstate. Mom, Dad, Derek. I did not answer. Then the text came. My daughter, think about it. Derek needs this opportunity. Do not be stubborn. This is about family. Then Derek. You owe us. Remember everything that was sacrificed for you. I pulled over at a gas station, took a breath, and blocked their numbers one by one. When I finally got back to my condo, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on the balcony. Austin looked beautiful from up there. Lights, distant noise, life. My phone vibrated. Jenna. I heard what happened. I am sorry about them. I texted back. Do not worry. This was the best gift. I do not feel guilty for staying away anymore. She sent a laughing emoji. Your mom is already telling everyone you are ungrateful. Let her say whatever she wants, I replied. That night I slept better than I had in weeks. My bed, my home, no obligations. The next morning, I woke up to a flood of messages. Not from block numbers but from aunts, uncles, and cousins I barely knew. Your mom told us what you did. How could you abandon your family? Derek is trying to build something. We always knew you were selfish. I stared at the screen for a while. Then I started blocking them one by one except for Jenna. Jenna called me that afternoon. Kayla, seriously, all hell broke loose. Your mom called half the family. She is saying you are successful and you will not help Derek. Good, I said. Let them say it. That way their true colors show. They are also saying you have forgotten where you come from. Of course. I let out a sigh. They cannot accept that the daughter they ignored could be successful. I am proud of you, Jenna said softly. That is what matters to me, I replied. Are you really okay with cutting everyone off, Jenna? I cut them off 8 years ago. This just made it official. That night I met up with my friends at our usual little bar. I told them everything. Allie's jaw was clenched. That is disappointing, she said. They want you to be their safety net. Are you going to miss them? Another friend asked. I thought about it. I do not think so, I said. I think I have spent years mourning the idea of a family I never had. This just brought closure. I raised my glass. To the family you choose. To the family you choose, they repeated. My phone vibrated. An unknown number. I did not even open it. I put it on silent and focused on the people who were actually there for me. 6 months passed since that Christmas, and my life felt lighter. It was summer now. I was on my balcony again with my morning coffee, watching the city wake up. It is strange, but peace feels like stepping out of a fog you did not even know you were in. Jenna called me about once a week to fill me in on the gossip, not because I asked, but because she knew that if something really important happened I would want to know. Derek's baby girl was born, she told me on the most recent call. They named her Lily. That is nice, I said, and I meant it. I hope that baby has a different childhood than we did. Jenna told me that Derek and Vanessa were still living with my parents. The big business dream had not panned out. What a surprise. At first, Derek kept talking about his plans at every gathering, but people were starting to get tired of it with no results. Even those who used to applaud him were asking uncomfortable questions. My parents, for their part, had turned my decision into their favorite story. At every get-together they told the same tale. The ungrateful daughter who abandoned them despite everything. I meanwhile was experiencing a lot of wonderful things. 3 months after Christmas, I met Nate at a coffee shop. He was sitting with his laptop and a notebook full of sketches. He was a graphic designer. He had that look of someone who gets so engrossed in what they are doing that they forget the world exists. We talked. Then we ran into each other again. Then it was no longer a coincidence. The best part was that Nate did not just understand my work, he understood my story. He did not judge me when I told him about my family. He just said, no drama. I believe you and I get it. He had his own issues with difficult relatives. It was not a fairy tale. He was a real person. Things at work were going great too. I was promoted to lead the architecture for a new project involving artificial intelligence integration. The raise was good, but what excited me most was the challenge. My team respected me, my department head listened to me. I felt like I was finally building things that mattered. Sometimes the thought of telling my parents would cross my mind. Hey, I got promoted. Hey, I have a boyfriend. Hey, I registered a patent. And then I would remember them laughing when my Uncle Frank offered me a job washing dishes, and the thought would vanish. The last real attempt at contact had been about a month ago. Derek somehow got a new number and called me. Hey Kayla, he said, trying to sound casual. We should catch up. What do you want, Derek? He was quiet for half a second. Look, I know things got heated at Christmas, but we are family. And it would be nice for Lily to get to know her aunt. You mean your daughter needs an aunt with money? No, not like that. Then how? He sighed, dropping the act. Things are tough. Vanessa is not working because of the baby. My parents' house needs repairs and there is no money. A small loan would really help us out. I do not even know how much. It does not matter. He got angry, insulted me in a dozen different ways, and I hung up. I blocked that number too. The irony made me laugh. As a child, I felt like an intruder, convinced that I was the one who was wrong. And now I had a job I loved, friends who loved me, a boyfriend who understood me, and a beautiful home. Everything my family swore I would never have because I was weird or closed off. And it was not just about money. It was about peace, self-esteem, about having built a life with people who wanted me for who I was, not for what they could get from me. Jenna told me that my old room, the one Derek was using as an office, was being converted into a nursery. You know, she said, almost apologetically. I thought it would hurt, but it did not. That room was never really mine. Just like that house was never my home. My home was here, where I painted the walls, where my friends came over to watch movies, where Nate and I would lounge on the couch on Sundays, each with our laptops, sharing music and bad jokes. Every now and then, they would try to reach me through messages, distant relatives, family acquaintances, people who thought they could convince me. Once my Aunt Carol left me a voicemail. Kayla, family is forever. You cannot just leave like this. But I had already left, and with each passing day, that became clearer. Nate and I were planning a trip for next month. We wanted to go to Santa Fe, visit a couple of small towns in New Mexico, eat good food, and walk around without a hurry. We had books, maps, a list of places, and even a little notebook to write down where we wanted to have breakfast. I posted a photo of our plans on social media. Jenna messaged me a little while later. My aunt saw your photo on a cousin's account. And what now? She says it is so typical of you to spend your money on trips instead of helping your family. I laughed. Good, I replied. Maybe one day she will understand that I have no intention of going back. Last week my boss called me into her office. She told me another promotion was coming, this time to a technical management position within the engineering department, with more people to lead and bigger decisions to make. You earned it, she said. Your work speaks for itself. I walked out, and the first thing I did was call Nate, then my friends. We made plans to go out for a celebratory dinner. We went to a sushi place we liked and toasted to new beginnings. Ellie made a joke. Your parents must feel a disturbance in the universe every time you get a raise. Let them feel it, I said. But they are not getting a single dollar. That night, Nate and I sat on the balcony with a bottle of sparkling wine to celebrate privately. The city lights were beautiful, as if someone had turned off the noise in my head. You know what I like about us? Nate said. We are building something real, not just dreaming and blowing smoke. I laughed. And speaking of building, I have been thinking about buying a house. Something with a yard, a space for an office. Sounds perfect, he said. But with good internet, okay? Otherwise, how will we work? We clinked our glasses and started talking about neighborhoods, about what we did and did not want, about whether we might one day adopt a dog. It was the kind of future I could never have imagined when I lived in that house where I was always made to feel like a burden. My phone vibrated with another message from Jenna. Your mom is telling people you are probably involved in something shady. That is why you have money and will not help. I showed the message to Nate. We both burst out laughing. Should I tell them the truth? I asked him. That I am doing well because I worked hard while they were busy worshiping Derek? Nate looked at me. Do not bother. They are going to believe what they want to believe, he said. Your truth does not fit into their story. And he was right. My family had written their story about me years ago. The weird girl, the closed-off daughter, the selfish sister. The truth did not serve them, so they rejected it. But I had my own story now. One where the weird girl became a respected engineer. One where the daughter nobody paid attention to found her people. One where learning to choose yourself is not selfishness when the only other option is to let them drain you dry. That night I put my phone back on silent. I looked out at the city, took a sip of my drink and breathed deeply. For the first time in a long time I felt whole. Comment. I really connected with this one because it shows how much strength it takes to stand up for your own worth. Sometimes family expects things from us that we just can't give anymore, and that's okay. I've learned that setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's necessary for real healing. Choosing peace over old patterns has changed how I see my own life. We all carry responsibility for the relationships we keep and the ones we let go. Being kind to yourself first makes it easier to be kind to others, too. You might find that the people who truly care will respect the choices you make. Take some time to reflect on what brings you calm and what drains you. You deserve to build a life surrounded by genuine support and love. I'm so glad you're here watching these stories with me, and I hope they help you feel a little stronger today. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.